Stop recording, Sahil.
Can you see this screen?
Yes, sir.
Guys, start speaking, please, because this is really awkward.
Okay,
Can
now
all of
on
us
my
please
screen
mute
I'm not
ourselves?
getting on my screen now I'm not getting the column of chat. So maybe it's not possible to chat while sharing the screen. So I don't know whether it is possible or not, but I'm not getting that column of chat.
Same, sir.
नेगी रिकॉर्ड कर।
अबे यार मैं मेरे उसमें कुछ व्यू नहीं कर सकते, तो मेरे उसमें आवाज नहीं आ रही, तो कोई पॉइंट नहीं है अभी, किसी और से करवाओ।
करिश्मा हेलो
Do we have to copy this or what? Like, what is happening?
Colin,
Guys, why are we stuck here?
Colin,
Can someone hear me?
what
yes,
Who's hearing me? Who is this?
How are you? This is Colin.
Tell me your name.
Colin,
Dude, he
What?
can hear us, right?
yeah,
Don't speak, guys.
Guys, maintain silence, please.
is that you, Colin?
Please don't speak, guys.
Yeah. Who's that? Amala.
Okay, now can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Now let me start reading this, and then you can understand what it is all about. Now read this 9.1. Eligibility and conditions for taking ITC. It is section 16. It is the foundation of this ITC. Now section 16 tells me that which suppliers can claim ITC, what conditions they have to satisfy to take ITC. Like in my example, if I wanted to deduct 18,000, what conditions I need to meet and what is my eligibility. Now section 16 subsection 1, it is 9.1.1. What it says, every registered person, now this is one point, that unregistered persons cannot claim ITC. It is necessary that the supplier must be whom? A registered person. Now every registered person is entitled to take credit of input tax charged on any supply which is used in the course of business. That means this is my eligibility point. Only a registered person is entitled to claim ITC, and only on those sales which are for business purposes. Suppose I have a shop and I have taken one table for my home consumption, it is not treated as my business purpose. On that one chair or one table, I cannot claim ITC. So these are the only two eligibility points. That supplier must be registered person, and the sale is for what purpose? Business purpose. This is section 16, subsection 1. Eligibility is over now. Next subsection 16.2. Now it is very important, and it tells me the conditions for claiming ITC. Section 16, subsection 2 says that there are 4 conditions you need to satisfy. As per section 16, you can see the chat window. Okay, you can see the chat window. As per section 16, subsection 2, you can see the chat window. There are 4 conditions which are must to be satisfied for claiming ITC. Now, what are these 4 conditions? Now, see these 4 conditions. Now, first condition is what? Possession of required documents. This is my first condition, that every register who wants to claim ITC must be having any of these 5 documents.
ஆமாங்கம்மா எனக்கு இது வீடியோ லெக்சர் இருக்கு, சொல்லுங்க சொல்லுங்க என்னன்னு.
Guys, why you
அதான் விட்டுட்டேன் அப்படியே. சரி, இல்லைன்னா ஆஃப் பண்ணிருங்க, யாரும் பார்க்கல, எனக்கு கிளாஸ் இருக்குது. ஆமா
I think this was Rahul Patel.
KM.
Was this Rahul Patel speaking?
KM.
Who's KM?
Rahul KM.
Achha, this is Rahul KM.
I thought she was just making a noise like KM.
Unlimited minutes. Isn't this a 2-hour class? Yes. Guys, please be quiet.
Okay, now see the first point, possession of required documents. Okay, this is first condition. There are 5 points written in this point, which the screen which you can see. Any of the 5 documents the supplier must be having. Now, what is my first point? A tax invoice. What is my first point? Tax invoice. What is my second point? Again, a tax invoice. You can see the difference yourself. Debit note, bill of entry, and input service distributor invoice. In this video lecture, because you are creating a lot of disturbance, so I cannot explain each and every point in detail. So you please read these points yourself. My first condition, the supplier must be in possession of any of these documents, any of these. Now let me discuss with you a technical point. Now this note is written. Note, what is my first note? That in any of the above documents, these 5 information need to be given. It is must. So what is note 1? You can read note 1. Now this is my note 1. ITC can be availed by the registered person only if all the following information is mentioned in the above documents and is also furnished in form GSR2 by such person. Now what is my first condition? My first condition is that the supplier must be having any of these 5 documents. And in any of these 5 documents, what information is required? It is written in note 1. It says A point, amount of tax charged, B point, description of goods or services, C point, total value of goods or services, D point, GSTN number, and E point, recipient and place in case of interstate supply. Now, what is my first condition? Again, listen. I must be having any of the 5 documents, and in those documents, these 5 points need to be mentioned. It is necessary. Second note is also very technical, and it's required in numerical cases also. What is this second note? Can you read this second note yourself? ITC to be availed by a registered person in respect of invoices or debit notes, the details of which have note. So you remember this word note. The details of which have not been uploaded by the suppliers, ignore that section, shall not exceed 10% of the eligible credit available. In respect of invoices or debit note, the details of which have been uploaded by the suppliers. Now let me make you understand this. See note 2, which is technical. What it says. ITC is allowed when okay, in GST, what is the concept? When in my example, I purchase the product by paying the tax of 18,000, this information will be uploaded by me as well as by my supplier, who was Mr. X in the example. Clear? It is necessary to cross verify. Whatever recipient furnishes the return, the same information gets reflected in the supplier's account. We will understand this chapter later on in the chapter returns. Is this concept clear, that whatever I furnish in my return as a recipient, the same information has to be tallied by whom? Supplier. So it is cross checking. Concept clear? Now what point 2 says? Point 2 says that when you purchased a product, it is not necessary that the supplier has furnished the returns on time, or it is not possible that the supplier has uploaded all the details. Concept clear? For example, in my case, rupees 18,000 was to be taken as ITC by Naveen. But it is necessary that this information is uploaded by the person Mr. X, from whom Naveen has purchased the product. In case the supplier does not upload the information, then as a recipient, I can claim ITC of only 10%, not 100%. This is the technical point. I can understand this point in detail with the help of a numerical later on. But for the time being, note 2 is technical and very important for numerical purpose. You can read it yourself. ITC to be availed by a registered person, for example, me in my case, the details of which have not been uploaded by the supplier shall not exceed 10% of the eligible credit, the details of which have been uploaded by the supplier. Later on, I will make you understand this concept with the help of numerical. Shall I proceed now? I have discussed with you first condition. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Now let me discuss with you second condition. What is my second condition? Receipt of goods or services or both. This is the second condition. Receipt of goods or services or both. If I wanted to claim ITC in my example, it is a necessary condition that I have received those goods. If I have not received the goods, government says you are not eligible to claim ITC. First you receive the goods, then you ask for ITC. This is my second condition. Third condition. Tax actually paid to the government. Like in my example, how much ITC I wanted to claim? I wanted to claim 18,000. It is necessary that this 18,000 tax has reached in the government hands. So I paid to whom? I paid to my supplier, Mr. X, and it is necessary that Mr. X has deposited it further with the government. This is the third condition. If Naveen wants to claim ITC, then my supplier has to deposit this tax to the government. It is the necessary condition. If my supplier has not yet deposited, then I am not authorized to claim ITC. I have to wait till my supplier deposits. It is the third condition. And now last condition, fourth. Furnished the return. I as a recipient must have filed my return on time. Under Income Tax Act, the section of furnishing return is which section? Section 139. But under GST laws, the return section is section 39. So it is possible that it is necessary that I have filled the return of income also. Now it's over. My second. Okay, you can see the chat. Shall I proceed now? My two topics are over: eligibility to claim ITC, and my second topic is condition to claim ITC. Okay, now let me discuss with you my third topic. Same section 16 is going on. Now third topic. See this third heading. This is my third topic. Cases when ITC is not available. It is also a relevant topic. Cases when ITC is not available. Now you can see the screen. Now see this third point, cases when ITC is not available. Now this is my first point. You can see the heading. If payment by the recipient of goods or services or both is done after 180 days from the date of issue of invoice by the supplier, then I, as a recipient, I cannot claim ITC. Now this step makes sure that recipient will make the payment to the supplier as soon as possible. In my example as Naveen, if I wanted to claim 18,000 ITC, then it is my obligation to give the payment to my supplier within 6 months. Because so many times it's not that only cash transaction goes on, so many times there are credit transactions also. To claim ITC, it is necessary that to your supplier you are making the payment within 6 months from the date of issue of invoice. This is first case. If you fail to make the payment within 180 days from the date of issue of invoice, then you have no right to ask for ITC. This is my first condition when ITC will not be allowed if you are making the payment after 180 days. Second point. Now this is my second point, if depreciation is claimed. Now if you remember the chapter profit and gains for business or profession under income tax laws, I can claim depreciation under section 32. Under income tax laws, whatever machinery I am purchasing for my business purpose, I can claim depreciation under section 32. But now the same machine, if it is used for business purpose, if I am a manufacturer, I will use this machine to produce some products, to manufacture some products. So I cannot claim ITC on that machine. If I have purchased a machine of rupees 1,000 crore, under Income Tax Act, PGBP, under section 32, 15% is the rate of depreciation. But the same machine of 1,000 crore will manufacture some products also. So now government says that you cannot ask for ITC. When you purchase the machine of 1,000 crore, you must have paid some GST also because that was purchase sale. You cannot ask for ITC because you are claiming depreciation under other laws. So for the same product, two benefits cannot be claimed. This is my second point, when you cannot claim ITC. So when I cannot claim ITC, when on any capital good I am claiming depreciation under income tax laws, then don't ask for ITC under GST laws. Third point, when ITC will not be allowed. You can see here, in case of fraud, willful misstatement or suppression of facts, it's normal thing. So when you have taken ITC on the basis of any wrong information, then it will be disallowed. So whatever ITC you have taken, it will be added back in your tax liability. This is my third condition when ITC is not allowed. And last point, in case of late furnishing of return. Now it is little bit technical. Now it is late furnishing of return. Now what is this? Under income tax laws, what is the date of filing return of income for an individual assessee? 31st July. Under income tax laws, the date of filing return of income is 31st July. So in GST laws also we have different dates. Now what are the dates of filing return of income under GST laws? For example, if financial year is 2018-19. Had it been income tax law, the due date for me would have been 31st July 19. But under GST laws, it is 31st December 19. December 31, 2019 is the due date of furnishing GST return Of which year? Of financial year 2018-19. Is the concept clear? For every financial year under GST laws, when your March of that year ends, December is the last date of furnishing annual return. But under GST, you don't have only annual return concept. You can see on your chat window, I have given the example. If my financial year is 18-19, then December 31-19 is the due date of furnishing GST return of 18-19. But under GST laws, you do not have annual furnishing concept only. You have to furnish monthly returns also. You have to furnish monthly returns also. And what is the due date of furnishing monthly returns? It depends on different assesses. But in normal cases, the due date is 20th of next month. For example, if I have to file the return of September 2018, for this monthly return, what is the due date? 20th October 2018. I hope it is clear. Similarly, if I have to furnish the return of September 2019, for this monthly return, what is the due date? Due date is 20th October 2019. Am I right? Is this concept clear? You can inform through chat. Okay, you can inform through chat window. If you are having some doubts, you can ask me later on also. Okay, now you can read this point. Now read this point. Read this point 4 on your PDF. 9.1.3.4 in case of late furnishing of return. So this is the fourth case when ITC is not allowed. Now what it says, listen to it carefully. I will use this in a numerical example. A registered person is not entitled to take ITC in respect of any invoice. I'm ignoring the word debit note. Any invoice for supply of goods or services after the due date of furnishing of return under section 19, under section 39 for the month of September following the end of the financial year to which invoice relates, or furnishing of relevant annual return whichever is earlier. Now what you have understood with the help of this point? It says that you cannot claim ITC in case you do what? In case the due date of furnishing the return for the month of September, due date of September following the end of the financial year to which invoice relates. Now in our course, for example, my invoices of financial year 1920, or not 1920 because we are studying 1920, 18-19 is our year. If my financial year is 18-19, now what was my second line of this point? After the due date of furnishing of the return under section 39 for the month of September following the end of financial year to which invoice relates. So if I'm assuming that my financial year is 18-19, my invoice is related to 18-19, then in 18-19, what is the following month? So what is the end of 18-19? 31st March 19, and after 31st March 19, which September comes? Now the September is of 2019 comes, of course. So after the end of financial year 18-19, which is 31st March 19, which September comes? September 19. Now what is the due date of September 19? I just told you that for monthly returns, what is the due date? 20th of next month. So due date of September 19 return is what? 20th October 2019. So what this fourth point says, 20th October 19 or what? Now you can read the theory in point number 4. Or what? Furnishing the relevant annual return. Now what is the annual return due date? Sorry, it is not asking for due date. It says what? Furnishing of relevant annual return. So it says compare this 20th October 19 with what? Actual date of furnishing the return of which financial year? 2018-19, and check whichever is earlier. Now again listen this fourth point. It is technical and relevant for numerical also. This fourth point says that for the financial year 18-19, if you want to take ITC, you cannot take the ITC of 18-19 after which date? After the due date of coming September, which is September 19. I know that the due date of September 19 is 20th October 19. So if I haven't taken any ITC for those invoices which are of my 18-19 year till 20th October 19, or actual due date of furnishing return of income of 18-19, whichever is earlier. After this date, if your any invoice is left by mistake, then you cannot claim ITC for that. If still it is not clear, then let me discuss with you a numerical example. I have just you can see the chat. I have given the example. For example, for the financial year 18-19, after the end of 18-19, which September comes? September 19. The due date of September 19 is 20th October 19. Compare this 20th 19 with actual date, not due date of furnishing annual return. I just told you the due date of furnishing annual return is always 31st December. But it's not that everyone will file the return of income only in the last. I may file some return earlier also. Now see a very relevant numerical case. See this example. See this example. Can you see this example? Read this example. Such type of numerical can come in your examination. You read this example. Read this example. I hope you are reading the example. Okay, now let me read this example for you. Let me read the example for you. Always make a habit of reading any example or any case slowly. Okay, it's not a race. Y Limited is engaged in the manufacturing of taxable goods. This is first thing, taxable goods. The following information is available for the month of October 19. October 19. Now there are 4 items and these 4 are inward supply. What do I mean by inward supply? That means I must have paid some tax. Inward means that I purchased. So when I have purchased some products, maybe I have paid some tax. That means the question is, can I claim ITC or not on these inward supplies? Now what is my first inward supply? Inputs A. Whenever you get to see only the word input, it means it is raw material. It is my input raw material or my input product, but it is not a machine. So it may be my input raw material or it may be my input finished product, anything. I purchased input A. I don't know the value of input A, but how much is the total GST which I paid? 1,20,000. But there is a problem. One invoice on which GST payable was rupees 10,000 is missing. Now, do you remember now the conditions? Do you remember the conditions of claiming ITC? Do you remember the conditions of claiming ITC? What was my first condition? What was my first condition? It said that you must be having the possession of these documents, possession of any of the 5 documents given. This was my first condition, that you must be having the documents. So in my example, what is the point? One invoice on which I paid GST is not available with me. That means I cannot claim ITC of this point. So that means for input A, my eligible ITC cannot be rupees 1,20,000. I can claim only how much? 1,10,000, because what? One invoice, that means I am not in possession of that invoice on which I have paid GST of 10,000. I hope this point is clear now. Point 1. Is point 1 clear? You should use your chat window, okay? It saves our time. And without waiting, you should use your chat window. Now let us see the second point. Input B, it may be my another raw material or it may be my another finished product. Now it says that when I purchased input B, I don't know the value, but how much is the GST which I paid when I purchased input B? 40,000. Now again see the remark. Inputs are to be received in 2 installments. First installment has been received in October 19 and second will be received in Jan 20. I think I have missed this point. I missed this point. I missed this point when I was discussing my second condition. What was my second condition of claiming ITC? Receipt of goods or services. In that condition, some notes were written. Third note was relevant, which is necessary. What was my what is this third note? This is the third note. So this third note is of the second condition, receipt of goods, where the goods against an invoice are received in lots or installments. The registered person shall be entitled to take credit upon receipt of the last lot or last installment. Suppose I am purchasing 10,000 shoes and these 10,000 shoes will be received in 2 installments. 5,000 shoes today, 5,000 shoes after 4 months. Now what this point says, today you cannot claim ITC then. On entire 10,000 shoes, whatever tax you will pay, you can claim when you have received the last installment. And now you can see this example. And now I think you can determine the answer of second point also. Inputs are to be received in 2 installments. First installment in October 19, which is my month, and second will be received in Jan 20. So what that point says, that if the goods are received or services are received in installments, then you wait till last installment. So that means in October 19, I cannot claim 40,000 ITC. I can claim this 40,000 ITC when? After Jan 20. This is my second point. I hope input B is also clear. I hope input B is also clear. Great. Now third point, capital goods. Now it is machinery. So under GST laws, whenever you purchase any machine which you will use for manufacturing some products or which are capital goods, then it will be returned not as input, it will be returned as capital goods. I don't know how much of capital goods I purchased, but total GST which I paid was 1,60,000. Now again see the remark, and you should try to tell me the answer yourself. Y Limited has capitalized the capital goods at full invoice value including of GST because it will avail depreciation under the IT Act on the full invoice value. Now what is the answer? Can I claim 1,60,000 as ITC now? Now I cannot claim the ITC, cannot claim the ITC of rupees 1,60,000. Why? Because I'm availing what? Depreciation. So you cannot claim double benefits for a single product. Now three inputs are clear, and now last one. Try to tell me the answer of last also. Input services. Now it is not raw material, it is service. So whenever you get any input service, it will always be input service. Whenever you get any goods, it will always be input. 4,75,000 GST which I paid. I don't know the value, but 475 is the GST. One invoice dated 17th Feb 19. Now remember this date. You write it. You should write. Okay. I have also the copy pen. So you should use your copy pen also, because it's not possible without this copy pen to understand the concept. One invoice of dated 17th Feb 19. Now this 17th Feb 19 comes in which financial year? It comes in which financial year? 18-19. 17th Feb 19 comes in which financial year? 18-19. On which GST payable was rupees 1 lakh, has been received on when? Now this invoice was received on which date? I received the invoice in October 19. So I cannot say that this invoice is missing. In my first example, this invoice was missing 10,000. But in this case, invoice is not missing but received late. Now, do you remember that concept of due dates which I told you? So you come back above. Now I will apply this my fourth case, and these fourth were which situations where you cannot claim ITC. Okay, now read it. A registered person is not entitled to take ITC in respect of any invoice for supply of goods or services or both after the due date of furnishing the return under section 39. Due date, the word is due date, for the month of September following the end of the financial year to which invoice relate. Now invoice is related to which year? Invoice is related to financial year 18-19. Now when this financial year ends, this year ends on March 31-19. After March 31-19, which September comes? Of course, that will be September 19. And what is the due date of every monthly return? If it is a normal case, the due date of September 19 is 20th October 19. This is my first point. I hope it is clear. So due date is 20th October 19. Then you read fourth line, or furnishing of relevant annual return. So now they are not using the word due date of furnishing annual return. They are using actual furnished date of annual return, whichever is earlier. Now you come back to the numerical. Come back to the numerical. Additional information. All the conditions necessary for availing the ITC have been fulfilled. That means it is a theory condition that I am having the document, I am in receipt of goods, tax has been paid, and return has been furnished. So these are theory conditions. Y Limited is not eligible for any threshold exemption. That means person has to pay GST. And third is relevant. Annual return of financial year 18-19 is actually filed on which date? 15th September 19. Now, due date of September 19 was 20th October 19. Actual date of not monthly return, of annual return, which financial year? 18-19 is what? Is 15th September 19. Now I need to check, you can see the chat window. I need to check the earliest date. So what is the earliest date? Earliest date is 15th September 19. So that means for I cannot claim ITCs of which financial year? 18-19 after which date? In my example, 15th September 19. And in this fourth point, I received the invoice on which date? October 19. That means since this October 19 is after 15 September 19, I can never claim this ITC of 1 lakh. So for fourth point, how much is eligible ITC now? 3,75,000. And what is the answer now? For first point, 1,10,000 is eligible. Second point nil, third point nil, and fourth point 3,75,000 is eligible. You can read the numerical, solution, and if you have any problem, you can ask me. Such type of questions can come in 10 or 15 marks in the examination, but you need to learn the theory behind it. So the final answer is what? 485. With the reasons I have written, read the solution and tell me to proceed further. Class solve है. नहीं कोई दिक्कत नहीं. कौन किसी भी WhatsApp में बोलो. तो उसको बोलना है क्या अभी? हाँ करा दो. Shall I proceed now? Okay. Now let me proceed now. Okay, now let us so we have covered two concepts. So by default, we have covered a numerical case also. After 2 or 3 classes, we will start discussing our exam questions. We have covered eligibility to claim ITC and we have covered conditions to claim ITC. We have covered third point also when ITC is not at all available, and we have covered a numerical. Now next concept. This is now next section. My section 16 is over now, and let me start with you section 17. Now it is a technical section, apportionment. Now it is a technical section. And let me discuss this section with you on the board, that what is the technicality involved. So I will stop sharing this screen for 5 minutes and then I will come back. So now you can see on the board.
तो 1 2 3 4 पीटर की गांड मारो यार 1 2 3 4 पीटर की गांड मारो यार पीटर भोसड़ी
Now see the technicality involved in section 17. Apportionment is a technical concept. Because so many times in a big factory, when you purchase a raw material, you don't use that raw material only for one finished product. The same raw material can be used in hundreds of products. So what problem comes? I hope you can listen to me. Okay, now see what problem can come in ITC apportionment. I purchased a raw material. Blue color. For example, I purchased a raw material of blue color. 10,000 liter of blue color is purchased. Okay, I purchased blue color 10,000 liter. And now I am a manufacturer of shoes and slippers. I am manufacturing sport shoes. I may be manufacturing leather shoe. I may be manufacturing some slippers. And for example, suppose 3 varieties of slippers, variety 1, variety 2, variety 3. Sport shoes and leather shoe. Now this blue color, for example, is used in all these 5 things. This blue color is used in sport shoe manufacturing also, leather shoe manufacturing also, all the 3 types of slippers also. Now suppose slipper 3 is tax free. Suppose this slipper 3 is exempt from tax free. Suppose sports shoes, I have manufactured, for example, 100 pairs only, and not for business purpose, suppose for personal consumption. Is the concept clear? I have a big factory and I have purchased blue color and I am using this blue color for manufacturing 5 items: sport shoes, leather shoe, slipper 1, slipper 2 and slipper 3. But what I found, when I purchased this blue color, I paid the tax on 10,000 liter, whatever is the value. I'm using this blue color to manufacture some products. Some are tax free and some are not tax free, but I have personally consumed. Maybe I have distributed these to my relatives free of cost. So there may be so many reasons. Now some are tax-free products and some are used for personal consumption. Now there is a problem now. How much ITC you can claim? Suppose on 10,000 liter, I have given the GST of 2 lakh rupees. On 10,000 liter, I have given the GST of 2 lakh rupees. I cannot claim 2 lakh as ITC because this 2 lakh is used for some outward exempt sales, for some outward personal sales, not for business purpose. Now, can you understand the problem that there are, yes, in reality, there may be some issues. It is a common GST, 2 lakh is the common GST, but entire 2 lakh is not eligible. How can I claim the ITC for those products which I personally consume? Because when I personally consume something, I become a consumer, and consumer cannot claim ITC. If you allow the ITC to be claimed even by the final recipient, then who will pay tax to the government of India? No one. So one thing is this problem, that out of 2 lakh, I need to check how much I have used this for sports shoe manufacturing, because these sports shoes are personally consumed at my home. I have no right to claim ITC on this sports shoe. I need to check that how much of this GST out of 2 lakh is used for manufacturing Slipper 3, which is a tax-free product. I have no right to claim what? ITC. Any doubt in this point? You can write through chat. Is the concept clear? Okay, you can write through chat. Is the concept clear that why I need to have some problem in this GST apportionment? It's not so easy. Okay, again listen. Some of you have not understood this point. Again listen. I have a factory, and in my I have a footwear factory. Suppose I have Adidas factory, and in my factory 5 products are manufactured. Sports shoes, leather shoes, 3 types of slipper. One type of slipper, number 3, is tax free. Government says we don't need any tax on this slipper. Sports shoes, though these were taxable, but what I did, I haven't sold these sports shoes. I manufactured 100 pairs of sports shoes. I haven't sold these sports shoes in the market. I consumed it at my own home, maybe for my relatives' gift or for whatever purpose. Now, logically, if you remember my first topic of today's discussion, eligibility to claim ITC. The first topic was that you must be a registered person and you are using that product for your business purpose. So when you consume the sports shoes personally, that means you are not using it for business purpose. So you have no right to claim ITC on that much of blue color which is used in manufacturing 100 sports shoes. This is first point. Section 17 deals with apportionment. My earlier example was very easy. I paid 18,000 ITC. I am claiming 18,000 ITC. In reality, it is not true. I need to check how much ITC I can claim. Now, this is the starting point of that. I cannot claim ITC on those products which are exempt products or which are not for business use. So whenever you are personally consuming some product, you cannot claim ITC of that much amount which is used in manufacturing this personally consumed product. Similarly, when I am doing a sale of tax-free product, whatever tax I have paid in manufacturing that tax-free product, I cannot claim that as ITC. This is apportionment. I hope it is clear. If not clear, you can ask me later on my phone or through WhatsApp. Let us proceed now. Now there is a problem in this. But what may not be the problem? What may not be the problem? Suppose there is a black color. Suppose there is a black color. Suppose black color is used only for which slipper? Slipper 3. So now there is no problem because it is easily identifiable. whatever tax I have paid in purchasing black color, slippers are made of different colors, so different dyes are used, different colors are used. Then you get to see the colors in the slippers, on the slippers. Now, whatever GST I have paid in purchasing black color, it is totally disallowed. Why? Because it is used in manufacturing of that product which is tax free. So there is no question of ITC calculation here. It is totally disallowed. Shall I proceed now? The only difference is it is an easy case. It is an easy case. I know that my entire black color is used in manufacturing exempt product. So it was easy case. The problem comes for those products which are used commonly for tax-free products, taxable products, business products, or personal products. This is what section 17, here section 17 comes. It helps me that how you will compute your eligible ITC. It's not that whatever tax you pay is it's allowed blindfolded. You need to understand the concept of taxable ITC in this ITC under section 17. Now let me share with you section 17 slide. Now see this section 17. I hope you can see this screen. Okay, now start reading section 17. Again, from this also you will be having numerical. You can be having numerical. Let us see it. Section 17, my first point, 9.2.1. ITC is allowed for goods or services or both used for business purpose. That means in my example, sports shoes were used for personal consumption, ITC is not allowed. Now read what it says. Where the goods or services or both, see this. Where the goods or services or both are used by the registered person is necessary. We have already studied in eligibility, partly for the purpose of business and partly for other purpose. Now other purpose is what? Personal purpose. The amount of credit shall be restricted to so much of the input tax as is attributable to the purpose of his business. I hope this point is clear, that I need to divide the ITC between business purpose and personal purpose. Now how I need to divide it? The computation of such ITC is mentioned in Rule 43 and Rule 42 and 43 of the CGST Rules 2017. So we have separate rules for this. Rules tell me how I need to divide. It is technical. You can understand this with the help of illustration. A registered person purchases 3 laptops, but one of the laptop is being used by the daughter of one of the partners of the firm. In this case, ITC will not be available on this laptop because it is used for non-business stuff. This is the first point which you need to remember. Second point, now these all points will help me how do I need to apportion ITC. Second point, ITC is allowed for taxable supplies. Again, in my example, that means that slipper 3 was exempt supply. I cannot claim ITC for that. Now read this 9.2.2. Where the goods or services or both are used by the registered person partly for effecting taxable supply, including what? Zero rated supply, and partly for effecting exempt supply. In my example, which is exempt supply, slipper 3, the credit shall be allowed or restricted to only of that much ITC which is towards taxable supply, including zero rated supply. Again, the ITC is same rules, rule 42 and rule 43. Now, do you remember zero rated supply? It is section 16 of IGST Act. What is zero rated supply? Zero rated supply is what? All exports and all purchases or sales to whom? To SCZ oblique by SCZ. This was zero rated. But you cannot say that zero rated supplies are exempt. Zero rated supplies are not exempt. These are taxable but at zero rate. So for the purpose of ITC, these are known as taxable supplies. And not for ITC, for every purpose, these are taxable supplies. The point is, I can claim ITC even for zero rated supplies. I can claim ITC. In supply chapter, we have seen that if some business, okay, so we have a doubt. In supply chapter, we have seen that if some business stock is used for personal purpose or donated without consideration, but ITC was claimed when the stock was purchased, and later, now you are saying that stock is not eligible. Now your point is not clear. If some business stock is used for personal purpose or donated without consideration, but ITC was claimed when stock was purchased, and later that stock qualifies for supply. Your point is not clear. Okay, this doubt is not clear to me. So you keep it, okay, you keep this doubt pending. Okay, you keep it pending. Your another doubt is also pending. Okay, you have raised another doubt also. Okay, let me proceed first now. Now ITS is allowed only for which product? That input which is used for manufacturing a taxable supply. That is used for taxable supply, including zero rated supply, because zero rated supply are still taxable. They may be taxable at zero rate, but it doesn't make zero rated supplies are exempt supply. So I can say that zero rated supplies are not exempt supplies. These are taxable supplies. So supplied at zero rate. I hope this concept is clear. Now, can you tell me the answer of this example? Can you tell me the answer of this example? Can you explain the answer? Give your comments. The point is ITC allowed or not? A technical testing agency tests and certifies each batch of machine tools before dispatch by P Limited. Some of the tools are dispatched to a units in a special economic zone without payment of GST because supplies to GST are SEZ are not taxable. Accounts Department of P Limited want to know whether they need to carry out reversal of ITC in the testing agency service to the extent attributable to SEZ supplies. This is the point. That means whatever ITC P Limited has already claimed, do they need to add it back in their output tax? What do you mean by reversal of ITC? Okay, let me make you understand. What is this reversal of ITC? When I have taken ITC already, if I was not authorized, if it is not allowed legally, then I need to reverse the ITC. And how do I reverse? And how this ITC can be reversed? ITC will be reversed by adding the amount as output tax. This is the concept. You can see your chat window. When I have taken ITC already, if it is not allowed legally, then I need to reverse it. And how will I reverse it? I will add it as my output tax. Now, what was that example? Again, see this example. Such examples can come. A technical testing agency tests and certifies each batch of machine tools before dispatch by P Limited. That means P Limited is what? A person who has taken the services of a technical agency. So testing agency is the supplier. Testing agency is the supplier of testing services. Who is the recipient? Who is taking these services? P Limited is the recipient. Is this question clear till this point? Some of the tools are dispatched to a unit in special economic zone without payment of GST because supplies to SEZ are not taxable. P Limited wants to know whether they need to carry out reverse of ITC. Now, P Limited has paid some amount to whom? To the testing agency for availing the services. Testing agency. That means P Limited must have paid some GST also on availing the services. What is the issue now? It was found that those tools which were tested are sold. Some tools are sold to special economic zone. To test those tools, P Limited has paid some GST also to the testing agency. What is the question? Accounts Department wants to know, since the sale to special economic zone is at 0 rate, That means they want to know, do they need to reverse it? Do they need to reverse the ITC paid on those tools which are sold by P Limited to SCZ? Can you tell me the answer now? This is the question. Can you tell me the answer now? Do they need to reverse it or it's allowed? Can you tell me the answer now? Is it allowed or do they need to reverse it? Is the question still unclear? Is the question still unclear? It is allowed. Answer is because zero rated supplies are taxable supplies. Okay, so I am proceeding further. In case you have any problem in this question, you can ask me later. Now let me proceed. So I have discussed in section 17 2 points. My first point is it is allowed for those products which are used for business purpose, and my second point is it is allowed for those supplies which are taxable supplies. Now this point you should read yourself. ITC in case of banking companies. In banking companies, what is the process of availing ITC? You have to read it yourself. I don't think a numerical will come, but for theory it can come. So this point is for self-study. ITC in case of banking companies. Okay, I will try to send this PDF file later on. Now next, very technical. Now the next discussion is very technical. Rule 42 and Rule 43, which deals with manner of determining the eligible ITC. Now these are very technical rules. I can show you these for the time being. Rule 42 and Rule 43. Okay, there are some these figures. This is that example slippers. Okay, you can see the example slippers, variety of shoes, how ITC is calculated, then some numericals, figure entries. Example, this is the eligible ITC finally. C3 is equal to C2 minus D1, D2. Every figure represents something. I can make you understand it later on. Similarly, Rule 43 is also technical. Now you can see it is 60. That in capital goods, in 5 years ITC is allowed. 60 months. So our next discussion is on Rule 42 and Rule 43. Anyhow. Is it sufficient for today?